The night started like a dream. I remember walking inside the restaurant and whispering to Ethan, "You really didn't have to do all this?" He smiled the way he always did when he wanted me to feel special. "Come on, Nora. It's our third week as husband and wife. I wanted tonight to be perfect." I laughed softly. "You already make everything perfect." "Good," he said, pulling my chair out. "Then I'm doing something right." The warm glow from the candles lit his face, and for a moment I let myself relax. I wanted to believe things could stay this good. Mason, the server, came over with a grin that stretched ear to ear. "Evening. I'm Mason. I'll take care of you both tonight. Can I get you started with drinks?" Ethan didn't even check the menu. "She'll take a raspberry spritzer. I'll have the house red." I glanced at him. "You just guessed that?" He shrugged in this playful way. "I pay attention." Mason chuckled. "That's what all great husbands say. I'll be right back." As he walked off, Ethan reached across the table. "Tell me about your day. Every detail." "You really want every detail?" I teased, obviously. So I told him about a shipment mix-up at my shop, my chat with a regular customer, this silly moment when I got flour on my face while helping at the cafe counter. He listened like it all mattered. Halfway through, he reached forward and brushed a tiny smear of lip gloss from the corner of my mouth. "You always have something there," he said. I grinned. "You're imagining it." "Nope, I see everything." Across from us sat a couple around our age. The woman, Ellen, leaned into her partner, Lucas, laughing over something he said. At one point, Ellen caught my eye and gave an approving smile toward Ethan. "Newlyweds?" She asked. "3 weeks," I said proudly. Lucas raised his glass. "Cheers to that. Enjoy the phase while it lasts." Ethan smirked. "I intend to." Mr. Rayner, the manager, stopped by a few minutes later. "I couldn't help noticing your dress," he said kindly. "That shade of blue really suits you." I felt my cheeks warm. "Thank you. That's very sweet." "It's true," Ethan said, not missing a beat. "She lights up a room." Mr. Rayner nodded. "If either of you need anything at all, I'm around." Everything felt soft and easy. The quiet piano music, the clinking silverware, Ethan leaning in now and then to whisper small compliments. "You're glowing tonight," he said once. "Stop," I murmured, smiling like an idiot. "I'm serious." I couldn't help it. The happiness got to me. I rested my hand on his, and he squeezed gently. "You hungry?" he asked, starving. "Good. I ordered your favorite dessert already." "You what?" "Trust me." Then, right when the server returned with our drinks, Ethan's phone buzzed. His jaw tightened for a split second before he forced another smile. "Work again?" I asked. "Unfortunately, just one quick call." He kissed my cheek lightly. "Don't miss me too much." "I'll try." He walked toward the front entrance, phone already at his ear, shoulders tense under his coat. I watched him push through the glass doors and disappear outside. I took a breath. I felt calm, safe, loved. The kind of safety I never believed I'd find. But something in the air shifted the second he left, like the room exhaled without me. Mason returned with the bread basket. "Everything still good?" "Yeah, perfect. He just had to take a call." "That's life these days," Mason said with a chuckle. "At least dessert's almost ready?" "Already. Your husband ordered it the moment he sat down. Said it's your weakness." I laughed again. He's annoyingly thoughtful. When Mason left, I leaned back, letting the warmth of the restaurant settle around me. But the longer Ethan stayed outside, the more aware I became of a strange silence behind me. Not the room, just a presence. Like someone watching. I tried to ignore it at first. People look at each other in restaurants. It's normal still. My shoulders tensed. I lifted my glass, caught a glimpse of a reflection in the water, and my stomach tightened. There was an elderly woman sitting at a table behind me, gray's hair pulled into a tight bun, thin hands resting on her lap. Her back was straight, almost too straight, and her eyes were locked on me. I shifted slightly, pretending to look at the dessert tray near the bar, but really trying to see her better. She didn't look away. When Mason came by again, I lowered my voice. "Hey, the woman behind me? Do you know her?" He blinked. Which one? The older lady. Gray hair. He glanced discreetly. Oh, she's been here a while. Quiet, keeps to herself. Why? No reason. She keeps staring. Mason frowned a little. Want me to check on her? No, I said too quickly. It's fine. I'm just being weird. He nodded and walked off. I tried focusing on my drink again, but when I looked back at the glass doors, expecting to see Ethan pacing outside on his call, something felt wrong. He wasn't out there. Not anywhere in view. My heart kicked a little faster. Maybe he moved to the side for privacy. Maybe the call was really short. Maybe I stopped myself. Nora, breathe, I whispered under my breath. Stop overthinking. But something deep inside me, something quiet and instinctive kept saying the same thing over and over. Something doesn't feel right. When I turned back toward my table, settling into my seat again, I forced myself not to check over my shoulder like a paranoid person. But then I felt it. A shift. A presence. A weight of someone's stare heavy enough to press on my skin. Slowly, carefully, I glanced sideways just enough to catch a reflection in the spoons laid neatly beside my plate. The elderly woman wasn't just watching me. Her eyes were wide, terrified, focused only on me. Her fingers trembled where they gripped her napkin, and for a second I thought she might stand. But she didn't move. She just stared as if she needed to warn me of something but didn't know how. A chill crawled up my spine. I didn't know her. She didn't know me. But that look, that fear, it was for me. I could feel it. I swallowed, barely able to breathe. And that's when I realized her eyes weren't just scared. They were begging. As I finally turned my head toward her. The elderly woman doesn't blink. She looks straight into my eyes with pure, shaking fear. You're Nora, right? The woman whispered, breath thin and urgent against the back of my chair. Yes. My voice came out small. My hands were still around my glass, like a lifeline. She didn't say anything else. She reached under the table with both hands, like she didn't trust the world above it, and slid something into my palm. Cold paper. A roll of bills. My fingers closed without thinking. Take it, she said. Don't let him touch your phone. Don't wait for him. Who are you? I mouthed, because saying it any louder felt obscene. I'm Irene. Her voice broke on the name. Listen to me, leave. Now. You don't even know me, I whispered back, half laughing out of shock. You're married to him, she snapped, eyes sharp for a beat, then soft with something like guilt. That's enough. Mason returned with a bread plate, and the little clink of cutlery sounded absurdly cheerful. Everything okay over here? I swallowed hard, the money tucked cold under my palm. Yes, fine, thank you. He tilted his head, studying Irene for a second as he passed. Irene folded her hands over her napkin like she was holding herself together. You should go, she muttered. Closer now, practically at my ear. Please don't wait. My husband and I started, then stopped because saying the word felt wrong. Like naming a person could bend fate. He'll come back. He comes back too fast, Irene said, eyes not leaving mine. He always comes back too fast. Why are you? I began, but she cut me off with a look that made my throat close. Because I almost didn't, she said. Because I didn't listen the first time. Because I thought I was safe. Listen to me, Nora. Her thumb rubbed a nervous rhythm against her knuckles. Leave, walk out. Don't argue. They'll make you look crazy. I tried to laugh. It came out a brittle sound. This is insane. You sound tired, she said. Scared, old, terrified. Her face crumpled for a second, and I saw something ancient and raw in that expression. Please, take the money. Get a cab. Go to your shop. Lock the door. I can't just. The words sat heavy. People were eating around us. Ellen and Lucas were still laughing softly across the room, oblivious. Mr. Rayner paused at another table and smiled at a passing patron. Everything ordinary kept going, like the world was a film that had missed one frame where everything broke. Take it, Irene insisted. For a bus. For a number, for anything. I don't even know you. The line felt truer now than before. You know his haircut? Irene said suddenly. Dark humor cutting through. She nodded toward the glass doors like she could see through them. He always leaves just long enough to make you feel safe. He left for a call, I said. He said he had a call, Irene echoed. Too sharp. He leaves for a call. He always does. Mason hovered back, checking the table like a guardian who paused at the wrong moment. Do you need anything else? More water. No thanks. I forced a smile that must have looked ridiculous. We're okay. He nodded and moved on. I could feel my pulse in my throat now, a steady drumbeat that seemed to match the piano in the background. Why me? I asked Irene because asking felt like a tether to reality. Why would someone because you were young enough to trust, she said. Because you have a business. Because you have a clean name. Because you smiled when you shouldn't. Her voice dropped to almost nothing. He picks soft ones. A chill slid through me. I pictured Ethan's hand on my knee earlier, the casual way he had ordered dessert without asking. I pictured the way he had squeezed my fingers. Puzzle pieces shifted in a way I didn't like. You're being dramatic, I tried to say, scolding myself for the panic rising like smoke. This is a nice man. He cares. He cares like a hunter cares, Irene said flatly. He learns what you love. He finds who will be easiest to fold into his plan. He doesn't want to kill you. He wants your paper life. Paper life. The phrase landed weirdly. It sounded like an accusation and an explanation both. Your name, your accounts, the stuff on your records, Irene whispered, as if the restaurant could listen. You get upset once. They call it an episode. You sign something you didn't mean to. They bring in a doctor who has been paid to say things. Then you're a story on paper. Then you're not in charge anymore. I laughed once, too short. This is like a movie. Is it? Irene's eyes skated the room. Is a movie safer than real life? Think about the small things. Does he ever ask to sign something? Do you ever feel watched? He's asked to handle paperwork, I admitted, the memory sudden and stupid. He said he'd set up my online banking while I sorted things at the shop. You said yes. Her voice was flat, disappointed, but not surprised. I did. Saying it out loud felt like a confession. You need to undo that, she said. If you can. I looked down at the roll of bills in my hand. I had never carried cash like that in years. You don't have to decide right now, Irene whispered, but don't wait for him. Don't let him make the first move. A protest rose in me, pride mostly. I won't let anyone you think you're strong, Irene interrupted. Softer now. Most of us did. Ellen glanced over at us then, curious. Is everything okay? She asked, polite. Yes, I lied. Fine, thank you. My voice felt hollow. Good, Ellen said, smiling. Enjoy your night. She and Lucas turned back to each other, the kind of small intimacy that made my chest ache. Why are you telling me this? I asked Irene. It was the real question. Why risk whatever she'd risked? Why this table, this night? She exhaled, small and bitter. Because tonight felt like the night I should have left. Because I saw your face and as she pressed her fingertips to her lips, then let them fall. Because I couldn't live with another story left unfinished. My throat tightened. I wanted to ask more, to demand names and proof, but the restaurant hummed with normal life and my voice felt too loud. Listen, Irene said, one last time, urgent. If you leave now, don't say where you're going. Get to your shop. Call a friend. Change passwords at once. And if he comes back looking for you, don't go home with him. How do you know he'd ask me to go? I started, then stopped. Seeing the corner of the glass doors where Ethan had disappeared. The doors were closed. The street outside washed in the city's yellow light. My phone buzzed in my purse like a sudden fly. I reached for it, hands shaking. It's him, I whispered. Don't answer, Irene hissed. He'll worry, I tried to rationalize. He'll make you seem panicked, she said. He'll make you snap. He'll make it believable. My thumb hovered over the screen. The name flashed. Ethan, I looked up to find Irene already standing. Her napkin trembled in her hand. Go, she mouthed, urgent but impossibly fragile. Please, I can't just, my voice cracked. You can, she said, fierce for a moment. You can. And then she turned and walked away, her steps quick and uneven, like a woman who had been running from memory for years. I stared after her until she disappeared through a crowd, the roll of bills folded and useless in my fist. My phone kept buzzing. I didn't pick it up. He came back then so fast I barely registered the door opening. He was at my side before my head had finished turning. Everything all right? He asked, voice casual, like he hadn't been gone more than a minute. His eyes flicked past me, quick and sharp, toward the empty seat behind me. They didn't look like the eyes of a man returning from a call. They looked like the eyes of someone checking that no one had moved his pieces. Ethan returns far too quickly, and his eyes immediately searched the seat behind me. You look pale. Are you okay? I'm fine, I said, smiling too fast. Just a little warm in here. You sure? You don't sound fine. His voice was flat, too careful. I said, I'm fine. I laughed, the kind that tries to make the other person drop it. You're shaking. He reached across the table. Here, put your hand in mine. I don't need, I started. Then let my hand rest on his. It felt like a question he already knew the answer to. Don't be dramatic, he whispered, like a private joke. You're beautiful when you stop being dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. My voice went small. I just need a minute. Okay? He smiled, that slow smile, the one that told me he enjoyed being in control. I'll get us another glass. Thanks. I let him go. I watched him stand. His back was straight. He walked like someone who measured every step. Do you want me to order the chocolate tart? He asked as he leaned over. They said it's my treat. You ordered dessert already? I whispered, surprised. I did. He kept his voice soft. You like it? That's sweet. I tried to mean it. I wanted to mean it. You're really pale. He came back with the wine and set the glass in front of me like it was a small experiment. Taste the wine. It'll warm you up. I don't drink much. I pushed the glass away a little. I'll sip. Just a sip. He watched the wine catch the candlelight, then watched my lips. You sure you don't want some water? No, I'm fine. I said it again. The words felt thinner each time. You should tell me when you don't feel well. He tilted his head. You know, I hate surprises. Surprises are nice. I tried to smile. Not the kind you mean, he corrected, voice soft. The kind you don't. I felt like I was walking on glass. Every small thing he did suddenly had a weight to it, his hand on the stem of the glass. The way he nudged the plate closer to me, the quick glance over his shoulder toward the space where Irene had been. Do you remember that woman? I asked, too casual, watching his face. Which one? He wiped his thumb on his napkin. There are a lot of customers. The older lady? My stomach tightened. The one who left. He blinked, then turned his head like someone checking a map. Oh, the elderly lady. She's fine. Probably her nerves. She looked. I stopped. Her face was still in my mind, wrinkled and tense. She looked scared. People look like that sometimes, he said. Old people have stories. He smiled in a way that didn't reach his eyes. We don't need to fix strangers' problems tonight. I know. My voice was quieter. I let the sentence hang. You're overthinking. He squeezed my knee, a gentle pressure that felt like a command. Breathe, enjoy. I'm trying. I forced a laugh. It's just new place, new everything. You love it here. He tapped his fingers against his glass. You deserve this. Thank you, I said, and I meant part of it. But a small, cold part of me kept watching him. He leaned forward, easy and lit, and said, Tell me about the shop again. Tell me this silly thing that happened with the flower. So, Molly? I started smiling because the memory of flour on my cheek felt safe. She came in and asked for 6 white peonies. I dropped a whole bag of potting soil and ended up with dirt on my face. You're cute when you're covered in dirt. He laughed. I like that. Stop. I reached up and wiped my cheek. You're supposed to be the romantic one, not the perv. I can be both. He winked. Then his face went calm as a lake. Do you want me to walk you to the restroom? No, I'll be fine. I knew I couldn't trust my legs to stay where they were if he offered to walk me anywhere. Actually, excuse me. I stood slowly, the chair scraping softly. The restaurant light blurred for a second as if someone had nudged the world. I walked toward the back, not to the restroom, but to the side exit. The cool air hit my face like a slap. My breath came sharper, cleaner. Hey, everything okay? Mason called from the kitchen pass, wiping a plate. Just a minute, I said. I'll be right back. Take your time. He nodded without looking worried. The staff were pros at pretending 100 tiny dramas were nothing. Outside, the streets smelled like rain and hot asphalt. The city noise felt distant, muffled, like a radio underwater. I kept moving, shoes on the wet pavement, and didn't look back. My chest was tight enough to hurt. Where are you going? A voice behind me called. I didn't turn. I didn't want his shadow on me again. Nora, come on. He sounded like he wanted to soothe. Don't be silly, it's just a quick call. I'll be right back. I'm fine, I lied. The lie tasted wrong. Please. He stepped toward me. Don't wander off. I'm not wandering. I forced it out. I'm just walking. He came up beside me, close enough to touch. Don't sulk, okay? I hate it. He smiled. Too bright. Come back in. The dessert will be cold. My stomach doesn't feel right, I said. I think I need some air. Air is fine. He reached to take my hand. We can go for a walk after dessert. I planned that. I'm going to my shop for a minute, I said, watching his face for the first real time. I left keys there. The excuse landed lame, but it bought distance. Your shop. Now. He blinked. You just said you were tired. I'm fine. I started to turn away. He didn't stop me. He watched me go as if observing an experiment. He didn't follow right away. He waited at the doorway, phone in his hand as if timing something. I walked faster, air biting my lungs, and pushed through the alley that led to my bookstore cafe. The bell over the back door chimed when I slipped inside. Lock clicked. I breathed in the smell of old paper and coffee. You okay? Genino, wrong voice myself. I laughed at that in a tiny breath. My phone vibrated on the counter like a trapped insect. I didn't need to see the screen to know. It was him, again and again. The buzz felt like a countdown. My phone buzzes on the counter, Ethan calling, over and over. You have to let me in. I can't, please. Her voice cracked like old paper. Please, Nora. Please, Irene. I tried to keep it steady. How did she followed you, she said, sitting before I could finish. I saw you at the door and I ran. You ran. I felt ridiculous asking like the question could shrink the moment. You could have left. I didn't leave my story unfinished, she breathed. Not tonight. Her hands trembled when she reached for the knob. You don't know what he does. He's not the words lodged. I couldn't say husband without tasting fear. He's a good man. He looks good on paper, Irene said. Very good. That's the trick. She dropped her bag on the floor and it made a dull sound that seemed huge in the small shop. Sit down, quickly. I okay? I moved to the back table and motioned for her to take the chair opposite. The cafe smelled like coffee grounds and old paper. The lamps cast a low pool of light. I kept thinking of the glass door and the phone buzzing in my pocket. You locked the back, she said, approving. Smart. You said don't wait. The money in my purse felt heavier suddenly. Why did you come here? Because I had to tell you in person. She pulled a thin envelope from her coat like it was something alive. Because if I didn't, I would have been like I was when they came for me. When they came, I repeated. They'll call it an episode, she said, without looking at me. They'll say you snapped. They'll say you're unstable. They'll file the papers. They'll move things into someone else's name and your life will be on other people's teeth. Her fingers skittered over the envelope until it rustled. I almost let them do it to me. You keep saying they. Who are they? I asked, voice small. People who profit from a good story. She tapped the envelope. People with signatures who don't belong to them. Stop, I said. This sounds insane. It sounds like a nightmare until you see the receipts. She opened the envelope and unfolded a sheaf. Photocopied pages, color prints, faded letters. Look, they're real. My mouth felt dry. Who are these names? Cassandra Holt, she read, squinting at a page. Marianne Pierce. Julia Trent. She watched me while I digested each name like they were weighted stones. He leaves, then a small incident happens. A doctor writes a note. A neighbor signs a witness statement. A bank freezes accounts. The signatures aren't theirs at first glance, but they've learned how to make them look right. You're saying, Ethan, the name felt heavy. You're saying he did. I'm saying he picked me once. Her jaw tightened. I'm saying he has a pattern. I'm saying I walked out the night they meant to lock me in, and I watched him file things that weren't true. She looked at me, then really looked tan for a second. I saw a woman younger than her years. I hid for years. I have these because I forced copies out before they disappeared. I didn't keep them for show. I kept them for someone I would never meet. Until you... How can you prove any of this? I asked. He's careful. He's precise. Irene nodded. But he's also predictable in how he hides the mess. He uses the same clinics. The same lawyer names pop up. The same handwriting quirks. She tapped a page with a pen like a metronome. Listen, foam at the end of a signature, a backslash after the T. The way the numbers slope. You analyze handwriting now? I tried to keep my tone light. Absurdly. No. She smiled without joy. I memorize patterns. It's how I survived. She spread more pages. Look at this bank transfer. She pointed. 2 minutes after a phone call he made from a bar across town. Then a doctor's note signed by a name that looks right until you compare it side by side. It's meticulous. My head buzzed. I thought of the little things Ethan had done ordering dessert, touching my hand, talking about my shop. It felt like the picture in a detective novel, except this was my life. You should have left when you had the chance, she said softly, like scolding a child. I stayed. I believed him. I thought I could talk my way out. How did you get away? The question came out too loud. I left. I made a scene at a gas station. I screamed at a man who drove me to a motel. I woke up the next morning with a pocket full of receipts that I pretended to be useless. She laughed once, a thin sound. It's messy. It's ugly. But I walked out. You ran from him. The thought of confrontations tightened something inside me. No, her face was flat. I walked. I planned. I told a woman at a bank that I wanted to close accounts. I lied about names. I pretended I had dementia to get him to stop visiting. She rubbed her temple. You don't have to do that. You can be smarter than I was. How do I? I stopped because my voice was hysterical. The papers looked like a map to a crime I hadn't known I was in. Where do you even start? You start by not doing what he expects. She leaned forward. You don't panic on cue. You don't sign anything without your lawyer. You don't go home with him when he says he's worried. You call someone who knows how to freeze accounts on your side. I can't even think straight. I imagined calling my mother and stammering through words that would sound lunatic. Who would believe me? Someone will, Irene said. Someone has to. That's why I kept copies. She handed me a photo of an older woman staring at a courtroom, hair tucked, eyes hollow. That's Marianne. She told me once she wished someone had come to her door. My fingers tightened around the photograph. My reflection in the cafe window looked like a stranger. Why me? I asked again, needing the reason. Because you were smiling when he opened the door, she said simply. Because you walked in with a light no one wanted to steal until they decided they could. He chooses people who look like they'll be missed, so when the paper says they're gone, it's quieter. You make it sound cruelly methodical. I tasted bile. How many women? Enough. She set the papers down like a finality. Not one too many, but too many to ignore. The bell over the front door chimed faintly in the distance, and for a second I flinched like someone pulling a wire. My phone buzzed and my bag a small, relentless sound. I ignored it. Irene watched the phone like it might bite. You showed up in a restaurant, I said. You left me money. You risked coming here? I couldn't keep the truth out. Why me? Because I saw you, she said. Because I lived through it. Because I couldn't let another woman be surprised. She pushed a thin manila folder across the table. Open it. I slid it toward me with shaky hands. The first page was a document with my name at the top. My handwriting. A signature that looked like mine. A date stamped weeks before Ethan and I ever met. Okay, show me again. I'm showing you. I kept my voice steady like it mattered. Right, here account locked. That can't be right. Irene leaned over, breath hot with worry. Refresh it. I did. My fingers hovered over the trackpad. It says, access temporarily suspended due to suspicious activity. That's how they start. Irene's nails tap the table. They freeze, then they call it evidence. My card. I push to the next tab. Declined. It's declined everywhere. Of course. Irene sounded bored by the reality, like she'd read this page many times. He had someone set that up. He who? I hissed. Who did this? I told you he doesn't do the dirty work. She folded her hands. There's a man. He hides in wires. Victor Hale. Victor what? I read it aloud like a name could be a lie. That sounds made up. He's not made up. Irene's jaw was tight. He's the sort that sits behind a laptop and makes troubles look like accidents. He scrambles logs. He hides timestamps. He makes a signature fit in a file. Why would Ethan hire someone like that? The words felt heavy. What does he get from it? Control. Irene said it plain. Paper control. If you don't have your name on things, you don't get to decide. Someone's using my medical records. I tapped another window. There's a note, acute stress episode dated yesterday. I wasn't at a clinic. That's the script, Irene said. Make her seem unstable. Get a doc who will sign it. Move paperwork. Close doors. My throat closed. I can't believe this is real. It's real. Irene's eyes were blunt. And it's already started. I laughed once, short and ugly. He kissed me tonight. He said he loved me. So the mask worked. She didn't sound surprised. It always does. My phone buzzed on the counter. I ignored it. The screen leaked Ethan calling. I swallowed. You should answer. Irene's voice was sharp. Make it look normal. No, I swallowed. If I pick up, he'll know where I am. He already knows where you are. Irene's hand closed around mine. He called the restaurant. What? My heart missed. How tracks a few signals? Uses a parking app. Asks the waiter. He's practiced. She dug in her bag and pulled a small notebook. He tapped Victor for some digital help when I fought back. Victor makes sure the paper trail looks natural. This is insane. My laugh was smaller this time. I sound crazy saying this. You sound scared, she said. Not crazy. The bell above the shop door chimed. The streetlight spat a pale wedge through the window and the shop felt far too exposed. Can we call someone? I asked a lawyer. The bank. The police. Call a friend first. Irene's tone was firm. Call Jenna. She'll know how to copy files before they disappear. Jenna? I looked up. My neighbor. Tech neighbor. Irene's shoulders eased a fraction. Good at cleaning up digital messes without blinking. I dug my phone from under a stack of invoices and dialed. The line clicked open. You found the scarecrow. Jenna's voice on the phone was light. Too light. I saw the alert. Are you safe? Not exactly. I tried to be short. Can you come by? I'll be there in 10. She didn't ask questions. She never did. You're sure you want her? Irene asked, skeptical. We need someone who moves quietly. Jenna's quiet. I felt an odd relief at the name. She helped me set up the shop site. She knows the accounts. Good. Irene rubbed her temple. When she's here, don't touch anything you don't have to. Let her clone everything. If Victor shows up in logs, she'll see it. 10 minutes later, Jenna arrived like someone who owned the night. She had a small backpack and this way of smiling that made tense rooms softer. "You called," she said, already at my laptop, fingers finding keys like they belonged to her. "Everything's messed up," I blurted. "Cards frozen. Medical note. Account locked." "I didn't do any of it." "Victor Hale," Jenna said without looking up. "That name come with you or with Irene?" "With Irene." I watched Jenna scroll. Her face went sky hard and then pragmatic. "You see anything?" "Not yet." She clicked through tabs, eyes fast. "But I can mirror the drive. Clone it locally. If Victor tries to alter timestamps, we'll have proof he touched it later." "How long?" I asked, breath small. "Half hour to clone the important stuff? 10 minutes to set a watch on the accounts so they can't move money without alerts." Jenna's voice was calm. "You want me to call the bank now?" "Yes." I felt my voice crack and I hated that it did. "Do it. Tell them not to release anything. Lock everything." "I'm on it." She thumbed a number and started talking in that rapid, professional cadence. I listened like someone eavesdropping on a puzzle being solved. "You should screenshot everything," Irene said. "Take photos of the files. Save the paper." She pushed a small camera toward me. "Keep copies in different places." I'm terrified. The confession slid out soft, like a confession in church. "Good," Irene didn't chide. "Fear keeps you sharp. Use it." Jenna's phone clicked. "They put a temporary hold, but they want ID verification. They'll want you to come in." "I can't go," I whispered. "He'll be waiting." "Then go with someone." Jenna looked up. "I'll come with you. We'll gate the meeting. We'll make them talk in front of you." "You don't understand what he can do?" Irene said quickly. "He makes doctors write what he needs. He finds witnesses. He invents a co-conspirator if he has to. Then we build our evidence faster." Jenna's eyes were hard. "We log everything. We get timestamps. We make a trail he can't rewrite without showing his hand. We need proof of him accessing accounts," I said. "Emails, IP addresses, anything. That's Victor's lane." Jenna tapped. "He'll leave a footprint if he's sloppy. And he always is in one place. He wants to be clever, but he reuses tools." I felt hollow and furious all at once. "He married me for a blueprint," I said. The sentence a stone dropping. "Not for me. Looks that way." Irene's voice was flat. "He studies. He plans. He doesn't love. He smiled at me tonight," I said uselessly. "He kissed me, said he loved me." "He practiced being what you needed," Jenna said. "That's how he gets you to trust him with things." A car headlight swept across the cafe window, painting the shelves in a wash of silver. The street reflected like a moving strip of light. "Who's that?" I asked, breath catching. "No idea." Jenna kept working, fingers flying. "Don't look." Too late, I looked up. The light paused, then rolled on. A shadow moved past the glass. For a second, my heart lodged in my throat. "He's outside." Irene's whisper was sharp as a blade. "He's watching. Stay here." Jenna's voice clipped. "Don't go to the front." My phone buzzed in my pocket, a single hard vibration. I hated that sound. I felt trapped between the screen and the window and the people trying to stitch me back together. "Lock the door," Jenna said. "And take a picture of the license plate if you can." My hands were shaking so much the camera blurred. I set the lens, aimed, and saw the outline through the glass. A car parked, light sweeping, a figure standing by the curb with his hands in his pockets. My chest went cold. Headlights sweep across the shop windows. Ethan is outside. The first knock wasn't loud. It was soft, almost polite, like someone trying not to wake a child. But I still froze. "Don't move," Irene whispered. "Irene, that might be, I know who it is." She grabbed my wrist with surprising strength. "Come now." She pulled me toward the storage room in the back of the shop. My heart hammered so hard I thought I could hear it through the walls. The knock came again, gentle, careful, rehearsed. "Nora." His voice floated through the door. Calm, smooth, almost tender. "Hey, sweetheart. You here? Irene shut the storage door and pressed me against the wall. Don't breathe loud, she whispered. He sounds normal, I whispered back. Maybe he's just, don't do that. She clamped her hand over my mouth. Don't give him the benefit of doubt. On the other side of the shop, Ethan knocked again, a little firmer this time. Please open the door. His voice dropped into something softer. I'm worried about you. I pressed my ear against the wooden shelf, listening. The shop lights cast faint shadows across the storage boxes. Irene positioned herself between me and the door, like a guard. Nora, talk to me. Ethan sounded patient. I just want to see you. I wanted to answer him. I wanted to shout that he was scaring me, that I needed space, that I needed time. But I didn't make a sound. Irene tightened her grip on my arm every time I shifted. You're scared, aren't you? Ethan said quietly. Because you left the restaurant so fast. He forced a small chuckle. I didn't mean to upset you. He wasn't upset. He wasn't frantic. He was calculating. I could feel it. You don't have to hide, he continued. It's okay. Just let me in. I whispered against Irene's palm. He sounds normal. That's the point, Irene whispered back. He wants to sound safe. So you step out and give him the reaction he needs. What reaction? A panic, she said. A trembling voice. A hysterical tone. Anything he can record. Anything he can twist. Ethan's footsteps moved across the wooden floor. Are you hurt? He asked. You can tell me. I'm not going to judge you. The words curled like smoke under the door. I felt my chest tighten. Every part of me wanted to believe him. Every part of me wanted the man I thought I married. But the voice I heard wasn't the one who kissed my forehead at dinner. It was colder, sharper, like someone wearing his skin. I know you're in there, he said, voice lower. Nora, please. Don't make this harder. I flinched. Irene pulled me closer. He's trying to get the sound of fear, she whispered. That's what they use later. I swallowed. Why would he? She shook her head. Because a terrified woman sounds unstable on paper. My throat tightened. Ethan tried the handle gently. Just once. Testing it. It's okay, he murmured. Just open the door. I'll take care of everything. I can't listen to this, I whispered. You have to. What if he breaks in? He won't. Reen shook her head. He doesn't need to. Breaking in makes him look like a monster. But you opening the door because you're confused or emotional, that helps him. The doorknob rattled again. Nora, talk to me. His voice softened almost to a whisper. You know I love you, right? I squeezed my eyes shut. Come on, sweetheart. You're not thinking straight. Irene shot me a dark look. See. Just open up, Ethan continued. We can go home. You can rest. I'll call the doctor in the morning. My stomach twisted. The doctor. The false note. The stress episode. Do you hear it now? Irene whispered. Listen to how he frames your emotions. He's just... My voice cracked. He's trying to sound supportive. He's setting the stage, she said. He needs you to look unstable. He needs tonight to be the start of the narrative. Ethan exhaled loudly, frustrated. For a moment, silence filled the shop. Then his voice returned soft again, persuasive again. I'm not mad, he said. I promise. Just come out. I hugged myself. His voice made me want to fold in on myself, like his tone was a net tightening around my ribs. Why is he doing this? I whispered. He wants your identity, Irene said quietly. He needs you to break so he can finish the file. He needs you scared. He needs you to depend on him. Footsteps crossed the shop again, slow and heavy. You know what scares me? Ethan said suddenly. The idea of losing you? Irene stiffened. Now he's pushing guilt. Irene, I don't know if I can do this. My fingers shook. I can't just hide. You can. She leaned close, eyes fierce. And you will. If you open that door, you lose everything. A faint creak came from near the window. He was looking inside. I see the lights are on, Ethan said lightly. So you are here. I felt everything inside me go ice cold. He continued walking, shoes scuffing slightly. We'll talk whenever you're ready. But staying silent like this, it's not healthy. Irene rolled her eyes. Healthy. He loves that word. He approached the front door again. I'm worried, he said softly. Really worried. The softness wasn't warmth. It was strategy. And suddenly, I could hear it clearly. His voice wasn't anxious. It was waiting, measured, listening for any crack in me he could use. Minutes stretched like hours. His shadow moved back and forth across the window. Then footsteps faded slowly, like he was giving up. He's walking away, I whispered. No, Irene said. He's repositioning. He'll wait outside. He'll pretend he's giving you space. How do you know? Because this is how he did it with me. My breath shook. I hate this. I hate feeling helpless. You're not helpless, she said. You're waking up. I pressed my back into the shelves, shaky but alive. Something shifted inside me, a small ember of anger burning through the fear. I can't live like this, I whispered. You won't, Irene said. But running won't save you. She leaned closer, eyes sharp as glass. If you run, he'll spin the story first. He'll call the police. Say you're unstable. Say you're having a breakdown. He'll win. Then what do? You beat him, she said. At his own game. The words hit me like a jolt. What? You heard me? Her voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. You can't run. You have to beat him at his own game. You can't run, Irene whispered. You have to beat him at his own game. You ready? Irene asked, and her hands were already on the latch. I don't know. My voice felt small in the shop. What is it? A box. She smiled like it hurt. The sort of things you keep when nobody believes you. She flipped the lid. The metal smelled faintly of dust and something sweet, like old coffee. Inside were envelopes, a stack of CDs, a battered flash drive, and loose papers clipped together. Start with the tapes, she said. Listen, Irene, these are invasive. My fingers hovered. Can we even use this? We can. She pushed a small CD into my hand. Listen to the names. Listen to the voice. I sat on the crate and put a disc into the little player she had. A man's voice, soft and coaxing, filled the tiny room. Just take a deep breath, okay? Tell me how you're feeling. That's a doctor, I said, heart kicking. Who is that? Dr. Selby. Irene's mouth was a hard line. Not a big name now, but his notes have appeared in most of the files. He signed off on evaluations that never happened in person. How do you even get? My question broke. I paid him a long time ago, she said bluntly. I tricked the office into giving me records, or I copied them when I filed complaints. It's ugly, but it works. She tapped the player. Listen to the backing track. A soft therapist tone, and then a few prompts that get the woman to a small breakdown. On tape, it's perfect for a file. The voice on the recording coaxed, and the woman on the other end sobbed, small and embarrassed. It sounded staged because the questions were surgical, meant to steer. This was used as evidence. I asked one of the papers. Irene nodded. They turned it into a time-stamped file. Then signatures. Then a bank hold. Who recorded them? My mind was racing. Who asked for the recordings? He did. Irene's voice was flat. He would visit, make things seem normal, and someone from his circle would be convenient. He's methodical. She pushed another stack toward me. Signatures. I spread the papers. Names I recognized. Cassandra Holt, Marianne Pierce, Julia Trent. A loop on the Y that curved the same way on each page. A tiny flourish on the J. This looks like mine, I said. The pen tilt matches yours, Irene agreed. And his handwriting shows up too, often in the transfer slips. He forges what he needs and leaves a pattern. I can't follow all this, I admitted. How do you even start to prove forgery when the paper looks right? You start by showing the pattern, she said. Signature by signature. Bank transfer after bank transfer. The same clinic, the same address filings, small deposits to shell accounts. Detective Rowan didn't believe you at first, I murmured. Why would he change? He learned. Irene's voice was small and proud. Rowan saw the same hand in two unrelated cases, and something about that repetition ate at him. He went back to the files. He found the holes. My phone buzzed on the table, an old text from a number that was saved as Rowan. "Bring what you have. I'll be there." The message made my shoulders drop. "He's on the way," I said. "He'll want to see the receipts." Irene covered the papers with her palm. "But first, listen to this." She took a flash drive and plugged it into the laptop. An email thread spilled across the screen. Names, times, a parking receipt, and an IP log. "Victor Hale's tag shows up here," I read. "He's been in and out of these accounts." Exactly. Irene's fingers moved as if she'd memorized the map. Victor covers the digital side. Ethan handles the social side. He marries them, learns what to take, then uses Victor to make the paperwork breathe. So Cassandra, Marianne, Julia, I swallowed. They were all targets. Targets. Irene didn't flinch. He doesn't pick at random. He picks women who hold something: tidy businesses, clean credit, no messy histories. They're easiest to fold into news stories. "Lydia Crane," I asked, pausing over a worn photograph. She looked younger, straighter-backed than Irene. "She tried to fight," Irene said. "She kept papers but didn't file them right. Her name got scrubbed from courts because someone argued jurisdiction. She lost time. She lost land. She lost the note that could have saved her." Irene's voice softened. "I met her once. She told me to keep copies." My chest tightened. "How many?" "Enough to see a system," Irene said. "Not so many that it's obvious, but enough that the same moves repeat." I felt something shift, disbelief folding into anger like a paper snapping into a shape. The room felt cleaner, as if seeing the map made a way out visible. "What about Rowan?" I asked. "Will he help us?" "He's been quiet for too long," Irene said. "But he's age-worn and stubborn. He'll listen when you hand him a chain he can follow." She tapped the keyboard. "He won't act until the chain's iron. Do you think we can link Victor to Ethan?" "I do." Irene's eyes went hard, focused. "Victor's sloppy in one place, one server he uses for all his scripts. He loves convenience more than safety. Rowan can subpoena that server." "I don't have a lawyer," I said. "What if they call me a liar? What if they say I'm making this up?" "Then we present physical copies." Irene pushed a folder across. "Prints, timestamps, audio, and contacts. The trick is to make their stories so tangled that their only move is to expose themselves to untangle it." I pressed my fingers to a photograph of Dr. Selby. "How did he get mixed up in this?" "He took payments for quick notes," Irene said. "Little cash here and there. He wasn't looking for trouble. He was greedy, or tired, or both. But his name ties cases together." A knock at the front door made us both look up. Footsteps. Then a soft voice, Rowan, calling my name. "You ready?" His voice asked over the door. "As ready as I'll ever be," I said, and my hands weren't shaking so much. Irene stood and began to pack the metal box with practiced motions. "We need to make this airtight," she said. "We need timestamps that show him touching things, not us. We need witnesses like Lydia, who can say she was targeted." "How do we get Lydia to come forward?" I asked. "We find her," Irene said. "We tell her we have what we should have had years ago." The room hummed with the small sounds of planning. The papers rustled under my palm like a promise. "You've changed," Irene said suddenly, like noticing a light. "You're not just scared. You're dangerous in the good way." "I'm tired of being scared," I said. "Good," she smiled, and for the first time it was almost warm. "Now for something a little crazy." "What?" I asked, wary. She leaned in close, voice low. "We use his paper against him." You mean we file a complaint that puts him at the center? Make his signatures look like his. Make the trail point back to him." Irene's eyes glittered. "If he made women look unstable by creating files, we make files that make him look like the one losing his mind over his own identity." "That's bold." My breath came shorter. "It's the only thing that will trap him," she said. "Either he admits or he reveals himself trying to stop it." I felt the plan like a cold spark. It was dangerous, and it was right. Rowan pushed the door open then, his coat wet at the collar from the rain. "Show me everything," he said, "and don't hold back." I put the folder in front of him with hands that finally felt steady. Irene proposes an outrageous idea. Use Ethan's own identity against him. I'm telling you, this is the only angle that hits him where it hurts. Irene said, spreading the papers across my shop's counter like she was dealing cards in a dangerous game. "It still feels insane," I whispered. "We're making him the victim of his own fraud. We're using his pattern," she corrected. "We're not lying. We're mirroring." She tapped one file. "He forged signatures." "Good. We show signatures." "He created fake medical notes." "Perfect. We do the same." "He built a story brick by brick." "We copy his blueprint until it suffocates him." "That sounds like revenge, not justice. It's survival," she said. "And if we do it right, it becomes justice too." Jenna leaned over my laptop, typing fast. "We need consistency," she said. "Every forged slip he ever used follows a rhythm. Same clinic names. Same transaction order. Same weird timestamps like he works in tight little windows. So we copy that." I asked. "We mimic it," Jenna said. "Not copy, mimic. That's what makes it believable." "I don't want to commit a crime," I said, voice cracking. "I don't want to become anything like him." "You're not," Irene said. "You're not falsifying reality, you're revealing it. You're making his method visible. That's the difference." "And the complaint?" I asked. "How do I even word something like that?" "You don't," Irene said. "You let me show you." She pulled a document template out of the metal box, sliding it in front of me. The title read, "Identity Manipulation Report." Initial filing, the lines below were blank, waiting for a story to be written. "That's the same form he filed for Cassandra," she said. "The same format for Marianne Julia. They all followed this outline." I stared at it. "And we're going to file this." "About Ethan." "Yes," Irene said. "Ethan Ward victim. Ethan Ward perpetrator." "That makes no sense." "It's not supposed to," Irene replied. "That's why it works. He made those women look like they were unraveling by creating contradictions on paper. We turn the contradictions around. We make the inconsistencies land on him." Jenna pushed a folder toward me. "Look at this. These are his financial steps. He always makes a fake transfer to a third party, then a second transfer. Then he claims identity theft." I flipped through the pages. "This is so neat. He's almost proud of it." "He is proud," Irene said coldly, "and predictable. So I swallowed. "Pretend he reported himself. We create the foundation of a report," she said. "Then we let Rowan connect the dots. When Rowan sees the same pattern he already suspects, he'll push for a deeper investigation." "This feels like a trap," I whispered. "It is a trap," Irene said. "But it's his trap. We're just setting it up faster than he can rewrite it." Jenna spun the laptop. "Look here." I pulled Ethan's recent logins. He uses the same device for almost everything. Same browser. Same cookies. He's, honestly, sloppy for a man who ruins lives. "He trusts Victor to clean up," Irene said. "But Victor only cleans the surface. So Rowan can subpoena this." I asked exactly. Jenna tapped the screen. "If we plant a few digital anomalies that mirror his usual pattern, Victor will chase them. And when he does, Rowan will see the fingerprints, not his edits." "This is too much," I whispered. "I'm tired. My head is spinning." Irene stepped closer, her expression softening. "Nora, you're not doing this because you're angry. You're doing this because you want your life back." "I just want to go home," I said quietly. "You will," Irene replied. "But not tonight. Tonight, we build the story he meant for you. Except with him at the center." Jenna brought up the complaint template on screen. "Okay, we need key details." She adjusted her glasses. "We say Ethan noticed irregular transactions. That someone accessed his medical file. That someone forged his signature. And that someone is Ethan I asked. It will read that way, Irene said. And when he tries to deny it, he'll have to explain how his own handwriting, timestamps, and devices appear in the evidence. That's insane. That's the point. I took a deep breath. Okay, walk me through it. Irene nodded and started reading from an old case file. We begin with unusual account activity. Suspicious transfers. A trusted partner possibly involved. That's what he wrote about Cassandra, I said, scanning the old text. He's predictable, Irene repeated. Use every line he ever used. Use his words. So when they investigate, they'll find Ethan's fingerprints everywhere, Irene finished. The digital ones and the real ones. Jenna added, and once that happens, he has two choices. Claim someone else framed him, which makes him sound delusional. Admit everything. And he'll never admit, Irene said. He'd rather drown. My hands shook as I typed. Each sentence felt like lifting a brick and setting it into a wall around him. This feels powerful, I said softly. It is, Irene replied. Use that feeling. It's your spine coming back. We built the narrative slowly, careful, deliberate. A note about Ethan's bank. A file about his medical records. An old photo of a signature used as comparison. A fake timestamp that matched his usual patterns. Jenna set an alarm on her phone. Rowan needs this by tonight. If we send it tomorrow, Victor will have wiped too much. I can't believe we're doing this, I whispered. It's the only way to beat a ghost, Irene said. You catch it in its own reflection. This complaint. I stared at the screen. It looks so real. That's because the truth sits under it, she said. We're not creating lies. We're forcing the truth to look like it should have from the start. Jenna hit save on the last file. Okay, final check. Once we upload this packet, it stamps the time. Victor can't fake timestamps retroactively? You sure? I asked. He can try, she said. But Rowan will see him try. That's the beauty. Then let's finish. I clicked the final line on the form. My name, witness, filing party. I can't believe this is happening. You're doing good, Irene murmured. You're not running anymore. A small smile tugged at my mouth. Fear was still there, but something stronger sat beside it. Power. I reached to attach the last PDF and suddenly Jenna froze. Wait, what? I whispered. She pointed at the laptop. Your Wi-Fi just spiked. What does that mean? It means someone pinged your network. She typed fast. Her face went pale. Nora. Someone's trying to get in. What? Who? Jenna's voice dropped to a whisper. It's him. It's Victor. He's trying to locate us through your router. Irene's hand clamped around my wrist. No, she breathed. He found the signal. Someone hacks into the shop's Wi-Fi. Victor Hale is tracing us. Don't touch anything, Jenna said, already pushing past me toward the desk. If Victor's in your network, every click tells him where to look. He found us that fast. My voice felt thin. He wasn't even supposed to know we were here. He always knows, Irene muttered. He watches the signals, not the people. Jenna dropped her backpack on the counter and pulled out two small devices. All right? I'm cloning the whole system. If he wipes the files, we still have everything. How long will it take? I asked. Depends, she said, hooking cables into my laptop. On how desperate he is. He's already poking around your Wi-Fi. That means he's scrambling. Scrambling to do what? I stepped closer, though my chest tightened every time the cursor jumped. Hide Ethan's trail. Or delete mine. Both, Jenna said. He knows something's wrong. He's trying to overwrite anything that links Ethan to the pattern. If he erases enough, Rowan won't see the connections. We can't let that happen, Irene said. Not after everything we've built. I'm trying, Jenna snapped, then let out a breath. Sorry, this guy's fast. I need 2 minutes. I nodded, hands trembling. Just tell me what to do. Stay still, she said. Your network's like a crime scene. Don't disturb it. A tiny loading bar crawled across the screen. I watched every pixel move like it held my life. He's pinging the router again, Jenna whispered. He's trying different paths. Backdoor ports. Jesus, he's persistent. He's scared, Irene said. He knows what happens if Nora's complaint goes through. What exactly does happen? Asked. He becomes the center of his own lie, Irene said. He becomes the man with inconsistent signatures. He becomes the man who reported identity theft against himself. That sounds ridiculous, I said. That's the magic, Irene answered. Ridiculous is what exposes him. The Wi-Fi icon flickered. What does that mean? I asked. It means he's pushing harder, Jenna muttered. He's trying to flood the connection. Nora, give me your phone. Why? Because if he connects through your SIM, he'll bypass the Wi-Fi. I handed it to her. She powered it off instantly. Now no signals. No Bluetooth, nothing. What if he traces the shop's address? I asked. He already has it, she said. But he can't use it unless he has proof you're here. His job is to erase, not reveal. If he reveals too much, he exposes himself. That's comforting, I whispered. It shouldn't be, Jenna replied. Another window popped up, lines of code, unfamiliar symbols flickering. What is that? I asked. He's trying to overwrite system logs, Jenna said. He's deleting the record of him being here. Can you stop him? No, she said. But I can copy the logs before he finishes. She hit another command. A soft hum filled the shop as her second device lit up. Hurry, Irene breathed. Working on it. I paced in tight circles. My palms were slick. My throat felt raw. Will he find us? I asked. No, Jenna said. Not before I lock him out. But he's close. Too close. If he knows what we're doing, Irene said quietly, he'll tell Ethan. My stomach dropped. And if Ethan knows, he'll try to get ahead of the story, she said. He'll play the victim before you can. He can't, I said. Not this time. He will try, Irene muttered. He always tries. Jenna slammed her hand on the desk. Yes. What? I jumped. I got it, she said. I'd cloned the files. Every financial slip. Every forged signature. Every system log showing Victor's access. Even the fake medical notes. You have everything. Irene asked. Everything. Jenna sat back, exhaling. If he wipes the original files now, it doesn't matter. We have duplicates. With timestamps. And Rowan. I asked. I sent it to him through a secure line, she said. He'll have it before Victor touches a thing. A small laugh escaped me, half disbelief, half relief. So we'd beat him? For now, Jenna said. But he'll keep looking. Let him, Irene said. We've already outrun him once tonight. The Wi-Fi icon flickered again, then went dead. He just severed the connection, Jenna said. He thinks that stops us. Does it? I asked. It stops him, she said. He can't reach us anymore. The shop felt strangely quiet. Night pressed against the windows, the glow of the streetlights soft and distant. Is it over? I whispered. For tonight, Jenna said. But when the sun rises, we file the full complaint. Once the timestamp goes in, he can't alter anything without leaving a mark. We can file at dawn. I asked. Yes, she said. That's the safest window. Courts open digitally at 6. Victor will be asleep or at least distracted. We're really doing this, I murmured. You're doing this, Irene said. You're taking your life back. Something inside me softened. Something else hardened. Fear didn't leave, not fully, but it shifted into something sharper, something that felt like control. What happens when Ethan sees the complaint? I asked. He'll panic, Irene said. Then deny. Then try to fix it. And that's when he'll expose himself the most. He'll probably call you again, Jenna added. Or try one of his concerned husband routines. I won't fall for it. You might not, Irene said, but he'll get desperate. I don't care, I said. Let him try. Let him see what it feels like when the story isn't his. Jenna closed the laptop gently. Get some rest. You'll need your head tomorrow. I don't know if I can sleep. You won't, Irene said softly. But you'll survive the night. And that's more than most women he targeted ever got. I looked at both of them, these strange, unexpected anchors holding me steady in the storm Ethan built. "Thank you," I whispered. "We're not done," Jenna said. But this was the hardest part. "Until tomorrow," Irene added. I nodded. Until tomorrow. We began unplugging cables and shutting down screens. The shop felt dim, safe in a fragile way. I breathed deeper than I had in hours. Then my phone buzzed. "It turned itself back on," I asked. "No," Jenna said, frowning. "I powered it off. Completely." I lifted it from the counter. One new message. From Ethan. I opened it with shaking hands. "We need to talk tonight." "Family dinner?" No excuses. My blood ran cold. Irene read over my shoulder and whispered, "He knows." Ethan texts me, "We need to talk tonight." Family dinner? No excuses. The house looked warm from the outside gold light in the windows. Silhouettes moving around a table, but all I felt walking up the front steps was the slow throb of dread in my chest. "You don't have to go," Jenna had said. "I do," I'd answered. "He expects a performance. I'll give him one he'll choke on." Now, standing at the door, I repeated the same thought. Look fragile. Look small. Let him underestimate you one more time. The door opened before I touched the handle. "There you are," Ethan said, with that soft, polished smile he always used on strangers and prey. I was getting worried. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I just needed a minute." His eyes softened immediately, the way he expected them to. "Of course, come in." Inside, the dining room glowed under a chandelier. A long table sat in the center, salads, roast chicken, glasses of wine. Diana's mother looked up first. "Nora, sweetheart, we've been waiting for you." Mark raised his glass. "Glad you could make it." Patrick, the friend who always felt like a shadow behind Ethan, nodded. "Good to see you." "Thanks for having me," I murmured, pulling my coat tighter around my arms. "Sorry if I look off tonight." "You do seem pale," Diane said. "Are you feeling all right?" Ethan stepped behind me, placing a hand on my shoulder. "She's been stressed," he said gently. "She had a moment last night. But she's okay." A moment. I felt Irene's voice in my head. Let him think he controls the script. "I'm trying," I said quietly, lowering my gaze. "I just haven't been myself." Patrick exchanged a look with Ethan, concerned, sympathetic, exactly what Ethan wanted. "Sit by me," Ethan said, guiding me to the chair beside him. "I'll take care of you." I slid into the seat. He poured wine, pushing the glass toward me, just like he had at the restaurant. "Just sip. It'll help you relax." I nodded, hands shaking slightly on purpose. "Thank you." He smiled, satisfied. "So," Diane said lightly, "Ethan tells us you've had a rough week." "I guess I have," I said. "Sometimes things feel unclear." "That happens," Ethan said, rubbing my back. "She's been overwhelmed." The room quieted. His words hung there like gentle instructions people were supposed to accept. I breathed slow, steady. "You know what always helps, Nora?" Ethan continued, his tone soft but carrying. "Talking. I've been encouraging her to open up more." "Ethan," I whispered, "please don't." No, he cooed. "It's okay." "They're family." I looked at him, eyes wide, vulnerable. He believed it instantly. He believed all of this. Mark leaned forward. "You all right?" "I don't know," I whispered. Ethan's hand tightened just a little. "See, this is what I mean." My pulse stayed slow. My face stayed soft. But inside, ice. "So," Diane said, awkwardly changing the subject, "we're just glad you both made it. Let's enjoy dinner, all right?" We ate. Small talk dripped across the table. Ethan delivered affectionate touches, comforting smiles, concerned glances. Every minute, he nudged the image a bit more. Nora, fragile. Nora, unstable. Nora, needing him. Diane finally said what he was waiting for. "You two seem tense. Is everything okay?" Ethan sighed softly. "We've just had a few emotional days. But I'm doing my best to help her." I lowered my fork. "Ethan." "Lee?" I said. "Yes, love." He answered instantly, ready for another moment that would serve his narrative. I reached into my bag. I brought you something. A small gift. His eyebrows lifted. For me? He smiled at the table. See? She's so thoughtful. I set the tiny box in front of him. It's nothing big, I said. Just open it. With pleasure. He lifted the lid. A small mirror lay inside. He blinked. A mirror. Yes, I said softly. I figured you deserved to see yourself clearly. Before everyone else does. He laughed lightly, confused. Honey, what? He picked up the mirror. Under it, he found the envelope. The moment his eyes landed on the case number printed across the front, the smile fell straight off his face. What's this? He whispered. Open it, I said. His fingers trembled as he tore the seal. Pages slid out, copies of timestamps, forged medical notes, banking anomalies, all written as though he filed them against himself. He stared harder. His breath stuttered. What is this? He repeated, voice cracking. Diane frowned. Ethan. He didn't answer. Patrick leaned over. Dude. What are you looking at? Ethan flipped to the second page. His eyes darted, frantic, scanning every line. His throat bobbed. This is wrong, he whispered. These papers. They're about me. Yes, I murmured. His eyes snapped up. You think this is funny? He hissed under his breath. It's not supposed to be funny, I said. It's supposed to be familiar. Nora, he warned, voice barely controlled. We're not doing this here. But we are. I met his stare head on. Because you wanted this dinner? You wanted witnesses. And now you have them. Diane's voice trembled. Sweetheart, what's happening? Ethan shot to his feet. These are fake, he snapped, waving the papers. They're not real. I never filed anything like this. Maybe you don't remember, I said calmly. His jaw locked. Patrick reached for a page. Let me see. Ethan yanked it back. No, Mark stood. If there's an issue, there's no issue, Ethan barked. I tilted my head slightly. Ethan, you're shaking. He jerked his hand back like I'd burned him. I didn't do this, he whispered urgently. I didn't sabotage my own identity. I didn't send these notes to the clinic. I didn't forge anything. I leaned in. But that's exactly what the evidence says. His eyes widened, caught between fear and rage. You set me up, he whispered. You set yourself up, I replied. You've built systems that steal people's lives. I just followed the blueprint. His breathing hitched. You're unwell, he said, grasping for a news story. Nora, you're confused. You don't know what you're saying. I smiled coldly. I'm clearer than I've ever been. The table was silent, tense, electric, waiting. Ethan looked around the room, his mother, his brother, his friend all watching him unravel. What did you do? He whispered. Nothing, I said. I showed them who you are. Ethan's smile collapses completely as he stares at the documents, every crime he committed. Each one framed perfectly as if he committed them against himself. He's louder than I expected. Those papers are fake. His voice is sharp, frantic. Someone's trying to, this is a setup. They're copies of your filings, I say, calm like a scalpel. They match the pattern exactly. No. He shakes his head hard. No. I don't. You said you knew their routines, Diane says slowly, as if working through a puzzle. You said you watched out for people who took advantage. I meant he rushes for an explanation and his words stumble. I meant people who prey on others. I was talking about charity work. Charity work. Mark repeats, eyes narrowing. That doesn't explain the transfers. It was administrative. He gulps. I was fixing accounts. I thought I was protecting them. Protecting by forging signatures. Patrick leans in, voice low. Ethan, that's serious. It's not like that. He looks at each of them, pleading. You don't understand. It's a mess. I can fix it. I can explain. You already tried to explain, Diane says, and her voice is a tired knife. You told us you were concerned about Nora. You told us she's been unstable. He says like a rehearsed line. She's been having episodes. That's what he said, Patrick repeats, and it sounds like he's counting how the story fits together. He said she might snap. She wants me to believe that. I say, voice flat. He wants witnesses to buy a version where I'm unpredictable, so the papers look plausible. Why would you? Mark stops thinking. Why would you make Nora out to be the problem? You don't get it. Ethan's hands are trembling. If she looks unstable, she signs things she doesn't mean. She gets admitted. They take control. She takes control. Diane's mouth goes thin. You said that like it's a plan. It's not. He can't finish. He's trying to put us on his side, Patrick says. He's trying to make us feel sorry. It's working, Mark mutters, then shakes his head like he's fighting it off. You don't have to do this in front of everyone, Diane pleads. We can take you somewhere quiet. No, Ethan snaps too quick. No, we stay. We stay so everyone sees that He bites the words off. His fingers curl into the paper until it creases. You're sweating, I tell him. My voice is soft. Look at your hands. He slams a palm on the table like he's proving something. I didn't forge anything. I swear. Who else would bind those accounts? Mark asks. Who would call clinics and file notes? This document has your handwriting. It's forged, Ethan says, and his voice breaks. Someone forged my handwriting. Someone framed me. That's possible, Patrick says slowly. But who? His eyes flick from Ethan to me. Worry and doubt rippling through him. You think I'd frame myself? Ethan laughs, the sound small and cracked. Who would do that? Who would want to ruin me? You might be destroying yourself, I say. You built a system that makes women look fragile. You used precision. You left patterns. We followed the pattern and it points back to you. That's insane. He looks at me like I betrayed him. You set me up. I set you up by showing the pattern you left. I say, you taught me how to do it because you wanted me to sign away my life when I broke. I just used your lesson. A long silence swells. Diane's hands tremble on the tablecloth. Call the police, Mark says abruptly. We need someone official. No, Ethan pleads. Don't, please. This will ruin everything. It already is ruined, Diane says, voice small. I don't know what to believe. It's his ex, Patrick offers, fumbling. Maybe someone from his past is messing with him. Maybe someone he worked with, Mark says. Maybe it's a mistake. You keep saying maybe. My voice hardens. Maybe is what he relied on. Maybe is how he got away with it. Ethan's eyes find mine and something like clarity flashes through them, panic and calculation. If I go down, everyone goes down, he says. You don't want that. I already lost trust, Diane says, and she looks older than she did 30 seconds ago. If you did this, you betrayed not only me, but others. He can't explain, Patrick says quietly. He's not making sense. He's trapped in his own story, Mark says. He can't tell the truth because the truth is him. He'll keep talking. I'm watching him like one watches a storm. And the more he talks, the worse he sounds. I'm not crazy, Ethan cries. You're not crazy, Diane says, but she doesn't sound convinced. A knock at the door cuts through the room. Voices in the hallway, then the firm, professional tone of an officer, murmuring. Police, someone calls. We received a report, he called them. Ethan snaps, eyes wild. He said I was the victim. He said someone threatened me. His sentences are nothing but fragments now. He who, Mark asks. Ethan, explain. Victor, he spits. Victor wrote my thought. He said someone was targeting me. I called because I thought I was being framed. That doesn't explain why your signature appears on those files, Rowan says as he enters, raincoat dripping at his sleeves. He's been quiet, scanning the room. But it does explain why you called. His gaze is flat and observant. What do you want? Ethan snaps, clutching the papers. We need to ask a few questions, Rowan says. Please calm down. I'm calm. Ethan yells. I am calm. I'm not. He stops, looking absurd. Two officers in uniform appear and begin to speak in clipped sentences. Polite and precise. Sir, we're going to ask you to come with us for a short interview. For what? Ethan pleads. I'm the one being attacked. You reported threats, the officer says. We have to follow up. This is revenge, Ethan says. They're making, sir, the officer repeats. Steely. We'll need your statement. Diane stands, hands clasped. Oh God, this is a mess. Please, Ethan wails suddenly, voice raw. I'm not a criminal. I didn't, sir, step outside. The officers move gently, guiding him to stand. You don't have to do this now, Patrick says, trying to help. We can. No, Rowan cuts in. We do it now. Ethan stumbles toward the door like a man who's been found out. He looks at us with a look I'll never forget. Hoffet Trail, you set me up. He screams my name so loud the plates rattle. I look at him. My throat is tight. I feel a closure that's almost physically small, bitter relief that the lie he built is finally showing cracks. The officers lead him past us. Diane reaches out, then pulls her hand back. Wait, Ethan shouts again, spinning. Listen, you don't understand. No, Rowan says softly, but firm. We'll take a statement. He's escorted down the walkway, rain soaking his shoulders. He turns once, eye-searching faces for allies, for salvation. No one moves. He screams my name one last time, voice splitting. It hangs in the air like a plea that goes unanswered. I stand very still. My hands are cold. I feel an emptiness and a lightness at once like the end of a heavy dream. I'm not sure which is worse. Ethan screams my name as they escort him away, but no one listens. If you've stayed with me through this whole journey, I want to hear your voice now. Stories like mine don't end in one night. They end when someone finally speaks up. So tell me what you felt, what shocked you, what you learned. Your perspective matters more than you think. And your comment might be the one that helps someone else recognize danger before it's too late. If you want more stories like this, raw, real, and impossible to forget, make sure you subscribe. Your support is what keeps these truths alive.